This is a text message that I received from a host that I've known for a few years now, and it absolutely breaks my heart. I want to read it to you guys really quick. He says, "Hey Saimah, hope you're doing well. I was wondering if you had any advice for me. I purchased a 2016 Corvette C7 in 2021. My monthly payment is about $1,450 a month, and the car has been struggling to make a profit on Turo. Any advice on what I can do?" This type of message, it really kind of gets to me because I hate to see host in that type of position. That type of position is financially very, very risky. And the reason for that is because the number of days it takes to break even on a car with that type of monthly payment plus insurance, it's gonna be a lot of days. So basically, the rule of thumb that I've always emphasized on this channel to really keep yourself in a position of low risk when you purchase cars for Turo is to purchase a car where the day rate will allow you to break even within 6 to 8 days maximum. And the reason why that's always been the rule of thumb is because you have at least 8 weekend days in a month, and usually at the bare minimum, even in the slowest of times, you can get your weekend days booked up on your Turo calendar, which keeps you very safe. Now, when you have car payments that are in the thousands, right? So his was $1,450 plus insurance, you're looking at least close to $1,600 per month of just your bare bones cost of ownership. Now, even if his take home is $100 per day after giving Turo their cut and all the fees, it would still take him almost 16 days out of the month to break even, which is far too risky. Now, it's really important to understand why so many people are ending up in this position, what you can do to get yourself out of that position, and exactly how you can get great deals on cars that are the perfect match for listing on Turo. So in this video, I'm going to break down what you can do to get out of high car payments, how you can get cars at low interest rates in an environment where interest rates are at all-time highs, how you can buy cars that are at least 15% off of MSRP, which is so key to Turo. And literally, if you can't get cars at that type of a discount, you should not be buying them and you should not be listing them. And then the thing that I think is the top secret kind of smoking gun that you need to absolutely crush it on Turo. So let's dive in. Now, what I did here was I took a couple of notes. As many of you who have been following me for a long time, you guys know that I absolutely love data. I'm constantly gathering information to paint a better picture of what's going on so that we can be educated about our buying decisions. And I thought this stuff was fascinating. So here's what's happened in the last couple of years. And this is according to Car Gurus and NerdWallet. They put together some amazing data. Now, in 2015, the average car payment for a new car in the United States was $480. Doesn't that sound like such a dream today? Then in 2021, the average car payment in the US jumped up to $570. And then in present day 2023, the average car payment on a new car in the US is a whopping $725 and rising. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. Is the percentage of people that now have car payments over $1,000 per month has gone completely through the roof in the last couple of years because of high car prices and high interest rates and markups above MSRP. So in the beautiful state of Texas, 25% of people have car payments that are above $1,000. In Wyoming, 29% of people have car payments that are above $1,000 per month. Wyoming, my friends in Wyoming, what is going on in Wyoming? And then in my amazing home state of California, 19% of people have car payments that are above $1,000 per month, which is very expensive. And this is why, as time goes on, I see more and more Turo hosts that have car payments that are above $1,000. And I personally found that once you start getting into that $900, $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 price range per month. And of course, there are some caveats there where it can be an ultra luxury car that gets $300, $400, $500 per day on the platform but for the most part, if you have something like a Corvette C7, which throughout my 8 years of being on Turo, I've owned close to about 8 or 9 of them, I've never had a Corvette C7 car payment that was more than about $650 to $700. And that was for a fully souped up one, brand new, fresh off the lot. So when it's a 2016 model that was bought in 2021 with a car payment of $1,450, well, that definitely spells trouble for being a host on the platform. You get yourself into a position that's too risky. Your cars are depreciating really fast because you're accruing so many miles on them so quickly, plus you have the high car payments. So what can you do to avoid this issue, and please avoid it at all costs? Well, right now, if you find yourself in this position, it's a really tough one to get out of. So one of the few things that you can do is take advantage of the fact that we are still in a market where used car values are still very high. I love this Car Guru's price trend graph because it clearly shows us that values on most cars out there are still 30, 40, and 50% above what they used to be back in 2019. So the values have increased. Now they are starting to come down a little bit, but that means that you still have time to trade in your car or sell it at a pretty decent value to hopefully to a point where you're not taking that much of a loss on the vehicle. Now, one of the things that I have found to work really well for me is to sell my cars back to the dealerships that I bought them from. Some dealerships are still trying to get more supply onto their lots, and because you're a customer, you're somebody that's worked with them, you can actually sort of negotiate that buyback price, of course, within kind of the market confinements that exist based on the value of your vehicle. So that's one way to get out of it. But other than that, you might find yourself in a tough position and you might just have to carry on with that car until, you can pay it off or try to trade it in for something that has a lot of value. Now, that's kind of a different subject, and I've made a video about it in the past, which you can watch right here. That's going to tell you about how to get out of a car that you might be upside down on. But now let's switch gears and talk about what you can do to buy cars at a great deal so that you don't find yourself in that position. Now, whether you're a Turo host or not, or just somebody looking to purchase a vehicle, you always want to buy things at a great deal. Listen, on this channel, we don't pay retail for anything. We don't believe in that. We believe in getting great deals. We believe in educating ourselves and finding the resources that we need to get that smoking deal, because they are out there, but in this type of economy, they're just a little bit harder to find. So I'm going to walk you through 3 resources that you can utilize, and I'm literally going to show you the exact deals that exist that you can go today and go get for yourself. And then we're going to talk about the one thing you can do that is going to give you an edge over everyone else and literally give you the best car deal that 99% of people will never get. All right, so we're going to dive into the data, but if you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, Saimah, this is too much information. I barely understand the basics of car buying. I have a totally free car buying guide to maximize your profits. It's literally a guide designed so that you can maximize your profits on Turo, so that you buy in such a way that it makes sense for the platform. You can go to my website, powerhost.club, completely free, go and grab it. You'll see it on the homepage. So once you get your bearings of the basics of car buying, then you can really start thinking about interest rates, which is where we're going to start off. So I love this resource, and it's a good friend of mine who runs a blog called Real Car Tips, and he's always posting some of the greatest incentives that exist out there in the car buying world. There was a great tweet from just the other day ago, and she was showing some of the brands that are offering some great financing deals at really low interest rates. Now, the reason why I put a lot of emphasis on APR, or otherwise interest rates, is because literally an APR that you get, whatever that rate is, it can increase your car payments by hundreds of dollars depending on the car that you're getting, which means over the life of the loan, you're paying thousands more than you normally would just because interest rates are high, right? So it's the same thing with mortgages, and you want to try to bring down that cost of ownership as much as you possibly can. So he posted some brands here that you can see. Chevrolet is offering a 1.9% APR, Cadillac 1.9%, Kia's 3.31, VW 3.4, Ford 3.43, Jaguar 3.9. Now the average in the US is between 11%, 12% for used cars, and on new cars, you're looking at 7 to 8%. It all just sort of depends on the dealer you're working with, but it's extremely high. So these are less than half of the average APR rates, which makes it really enticing to purchase from one of these brands. Of course, if it makes sense for the car that you're looking for, that also fits Turo. Now, another list that he compiled, which I absolutely love, is the best 0% finance deals that are out there. Now, I get these comments all the time, like, Saimah, these deals don't exist. And I'm here to tell you they do. But in this environment, it takes a lot of effort to find them, right? You really have to search and put in time and work to find the dealerships that are offering these deals, and then hopefully find the car that you're looking for at one of those incentives. So I'm going to put all of these links down in the description below. But again, you can see there are so many brands here: Hyundai's, Toyota, Ford, Nissan, Subaru. So a lot of these brands have right now excess inventory, and they know that lending has really tightened in the automotive world, making it difficult for people to borrow and get loans on cars. So they're offering these incentives to make it a little bit easier to bring that cost down so that you can get an auto loan and you can purchase a car. So again, another wonderful list, just going to show you that these deals do exist even in the toughest of environments. And I absolutely think that if you can get a great deal where you have 0% APR or close to, even if you're paying a couple of percentage on APR, then it starts to make a lot of sense to list those cars on Turo. Then the third list that I love is percentage discount by MSRP. Okay, in the Turo world, and it's on Turo's website as well, if you're new to it, then you may not know that one of the most important factors of purchasing a vehicle for Turo, and honestly in life in general, is to get the biggest discount off of MSRP as possible. And for Turo, that actually falls into a very specific increment, which is between 15 to 25%. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, we haven't seen that in ages, and that's true. These deals have not existed, but the market is starting to slowly correct itself as supply begins to build up, right? So we had huge supply chain shortages, which is why it was hard to get deals. But now you can see here, brands are starting to offer, up to 15% off of MSRP, 15.6 as we see for the Alfa Romeo, which is now starting to fall into that category of where it makes sense to purchase these cars at a big discount so that you can list them on Turo and it offsets the depreciation. So these are precisely the deals that you really want to look for so that they make sense to list on Turo. Now, finally, the last thing that you can do for those of you that buy cars that are used, right, which there's nothing wrong with that for the Turo marketplace. I think if you buy slightly used, lightly used, not too many miles on it, and again, depending on the car, it could be a good way to go. So for me, for example, I'm going to get a Tesla, and I'm going to definitely buy that used because miles on a Tesla don't really matter that much because it's a completely different type of car. For EVs, it looks much different, right? So for example, the battery lifespan of a Tesla is supposed to go to about 500,000 to 600,000 miles with about a 15% battery degradation, right? So that means the battery life will die off by about 15% over the years, which is not bad. So that's really different than, let's say, buying a BMW that has 100,000 miles on it. No one's going to want to touch that. That is just a car full of problems. So one of the things that you can do is do a lot of deep research on brands whose used cars, the values are starting to drop. Now, I've mentioned that many times on this channel. I'm going to link a video right here where you can see how I use the Car Guru's price trend graph to find those cars, and Tesla is one of them, where we discovered or uncovered the fact that they are now priced almost 19% below what they were in 2019 for their used cars, which is a killer deal. So that's how you want to get smart on it. Now, finally, I think the one thing that will really give anybody the edge that you're looking for to ultimately have the maximum amount of profit and margin that you possibly can from a car. And this goes for if you're a Turo host especially, and even if you're just a normal person looking to buy a car, is if you can buy cars at wholesale price. Wholesale price is typically, the car pricing that is available at auction, but of course you have to be a dealer or a broker in order to get that. Now, if you are opting in for my car buying guide, I am working with somebody who sells cars at wholesale price and has access to auction, and I'm trying to see if I can make that connection for Turo hosts so that you can also get cars at wholesale price at a much better deal, which is literally thousands and thousands of dollars cheaper than what you see it on the retail market. And especially in an environment where it's hard to buy cars at a good deal, this could be a huge game changer for us to where we can get cars at good deals and have them be heavily profitable on the platform. So if you're interested in that, just go ahead, opt into the car buying guide, and I'm gonna hopefully get that out in the next couple of weeks to where I can connect you guys up to this resource and we can get us some wholesale price cars. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Would love to hear some feedback from you guys. So I'll catch you guys down in the comment section below.